foreman was waiting. "Good to see you here on time," he grunted. "All the shunters are off duty right now, so I'll need you to leave the train in the smelter's shed. Then you can be on your way." "Don't have to tell us twice," muttered the driver. Feeling quite nervous, Gordon moved forward and cautiously proceeded into the red light of the shed. Although far tidier than outside, the smelter's shed felt even more intimidating. Gordon came to a stop with all the trucks inside. Although there was a gentle rumbling of machinery, all felt very quiet. Gordon's fireman had only just uncoupled the train when there was a loud thud from behind. Everyone looked back to find that the large shed doors had slammed shut. "Oh, you cannot be serious," cried Gordon. He would never admit it, but by this point, he was feeling very scared. His crew were on the edge as well. "What do the people here think they're playing at?" snapped the driver. "They're trying to trap us in or something?" "Whatever the problem is," stuttered the fireman, let's try to get it sorted quickly." Everyone was in agreement there. The driver, fireman, and guard all walked off to find the foreman, or anyone, to get the doors open. Gordon could hear their footsteps getting quieter and quieter, until they were gone. The big engine was now all alone, but he didn't feel like it one bit. The machines outside continued whirling, and strange shapes darted in the red mist. It was an environment Gordon had never been in before. "Oh my," he thought to himself. "No engine deserves to witness this. No wonder Stepney got so shaken." All of a sudden, there was an unusual sound in the air. Creaking, squeaking, rattling, and groaning. Then, through the mist, a shape began emerging on Gordon's line. It stood in front of him, and seemed to be static. It was impossible to make out what it was, but it was dark and big. "Who's there?" Gordon called. No answer. The shape became clearer. It appeared to be an engine of some kind. Gordon could just make out the round front of the smoke box, with a little funnel above. "Who are you?" he called again. "What are you doing here?" Again, no answer. Gordon's anxiety was slowly being replaced with frustration. "Well," he snapped, "are you going to say anything? Or are you going to just stand there like some creepy—" Suddenly, the engine surged forward, and in an instant stood a few inches from Gordon's buffers. "Whoosh!" he shrieked. "Get away!" With a better look at his company, he gasped. The engine lacked a face. Only a dark, hollow smoke box glared at him. But that wasn't all. It was covered, from its buffer beam to its tender, in rust. The boiler was dented, and the side rods were torn. "What devilry is this?" exclaimed Gordon. Although there was no face, he felt a cold, hard stare. But there was something else that unsettled him. He looked over the engine several times, observing the main body, wheels, and tender. It all looked familiar. Finally, he understood why, and it completely horrified him. The engine looked exactly like him. The same large boiler, the same set of wheels, the same tender. It was as if he was staring into a rusted reflection. In that moment, as he continued to quiver, long-forgotten memories came back to him. They weren't entirely clear, but he instantly recognized them. They were from long ago, shortly after he was built. He was fresh from the works, in a sparkling coat of green paint. He was excited and eager to please his superiors. Before setting off for his first train, Gordon distinctly remembered spotting something in the darkest corner of the workshop. Another engine, facing the wall, completely still and silent. No one seemed to give any attention to it. In fact, there wasn't a single person near it. Gordon tried to picture exactly what that engine looked like, but it was no good. It was a complete blur. Gordon came out of his thoughts and gazed back into the smoke box of the rusted engine. He didn't know what to do. He was trapped inside this dreaded smelting shed, and this thing was just standing there, not making a single move. Was it just biding time? Or was it trying to communicate something to him? He tried to think of anything to say, and eventually, only one response came to his mind. "What are you?" he slowly whispered. There was silence. Then, although he wasn't sure, Gordon thought he heard a voice ringing through his own smoke box. Whatever it was seemed to be an answer to his question. Gordon heard it, and his eyes widened. There was a loud clanking sound, and Gordon looked back to see 3 figures walking towards him as the shed slowly opened up. It was his driver, fireman, and the guard. "You alright, Gordon?" called the driver. "Sorry we took a while." Gordon turned back, and all that was in front of him was a short stretch of line. That twisted scrap engine was gone. No trace was left behind, as if it was never there to begin with. "That bloody foreman thought we were messing with him. Kept insisting the doors were in good order. We would have been back sooner if he just..." The driver stopped as he looked up at the disturbed look on his engine's face. "Gordon? You okay, old boy?" Gordon stuttered. "Oh, yes, of course. Sorry, just feeling uncomfortable is all. Nasty environment and all that." His driver wasn't entirely convinced. He didn't think just sitting in a shed would be that impactful. However, he was too tired to press the issue. "Alright, Gordon, if you say so. Come on then, let's pick up the brake van and be on our way." To Gordon, that was the best thing he heard all night. And so, with the brake van and guard in tow, Gordon set off back home, happy to leave the scrapyard far behind.